So we'll get going here in just a second. Give everybody a minute.
Appreciate you putting this together, Shell. This is cool.
Absolutely. Happy to do it. I was just thinking about, I'll get started. So I was just thinking about you guys and especially the people, like it's a group that we're interviewing today. For those of you that don't know, they're all under the age of 30. And I don't know if you know this, but last year was the worst real estate market since 1995. So 30 something years ago was the last bad real estate market. So a lot of people don't realize how bad our market was last year. They knew it wasn't great, but they don't realize just how tough it was. And I really wanted to like highlight David, Brandon, Marjorie, and Lydia, because they're all under the age of 30, which is crazy cool. And a couple of reasons why. One is it's funny, everyone's like loading on. I could see her popping around. But what's really cool about that is that this group of agents, they're, they don't think really have like a huge background as far as, let me start over, okay? Because I want to record this. I want to save it for the group. So I'm gonna start over. So the reason today we started this, when I asked Brandon, Marjorie, and Lydia and David to jump on the Zoom, was because this is a group of agents that are all under the age of 30. Brandon was 30 under 30. Lydia is Zooming in from her campus at college. And Marjorie is in Charleston, South Carolina. So they're from 3 different markets. Lydia is from Knoxville, Tennessee. And Marjorie is from Charleston, South Carolina, and Brandon's from Hilton Head, and David Girls is also from Hilton Head. But I have the privilege of knowing these young people because of David. David introduced me to all 3 of them. And, when you get people with this kind of energy in your world, it really makes a difference in how you think and what you do in your business. And we love being able to share our expertise, David and I do, because we've been doing this for a minute. And at the same time, we don't know that we're our age. We still think that we're under 30 mentally, right? And to get around lots of different people really brings new perspective in how we think and how we feel in our business. So thank you all for being here and taking time out of your super busy schedules. I'm going to kind of take a stab at some things because my memory is not serving me quite well, but Brandon, I met him first through David. He's in Hilton Head. And you and your brother, you specifically did around 45 million last year in 2024.
That's correct.
And do you mind, are you 27, 28? How old are you?
I'll be 29
Oh, you're
in.
getting old.
I'm getting old. I'm getting old.
He's our senior on the call. I'm just kidding. Um, but so like you got started and you were recognized as a 30 under 30 in the industry, and your market is primarily luxury, which is another reason I wanted to get the 3 of you on this call, was because it's a luxury market, which a lot of people think, oh, well, I haven't even bought my first house yet. How could I possibly represent someone in a multi-million-dollar transaction? Now, Brandon, I know you have multi-million-dollar properties already and you've bought and sold, but you didn't start that way. You started selling luxury before you had those properties. Am I correct on that?
That's correct. Yep.
Could you share this? Like, what was the mindset that you had going into first selling real estate and then secondly, getting into the luxury piece, if you don't mind sharing?
Yeah, I mean, my mindset getting into real estate was pretty simple and it was unorthodox. And I remember telling myself, I'm going to flip the game on its head. I'm going to do things differently. I'm going to bring a different approach. I'm going to bring a different level of energy. It was one of those things where I was hungry. I wanted it. And I was prepared to do the things that other people weren't willing to do. I think the biggest thing that I did do is it's really important to understand your niche, right? And what makes you the expert in your marketplace, because the riches are in the niches. And, I really actually had an internship with the rental management company / real estate brokerage while I was still in college. So I understood the investment rental side of things from that internship. And I said, how can I go deeper into the short-term rentals? And the answer that kind of leads into the next part of your question is the luxury part of it. And when I niched down into the short-term rentals, what I realized is it's the perfect market for somebody like myself, or the second home market, because I don't want the people that are been on Hilton Head in this area for 30 years that know 10 agents from church. I want the guy in Boston that's got $500,000 or $1 million cash to put down, doesn't know anybody else in my local marketplace. So that was kind of the transition of, willing to do things differently, have a different approach, go deep, do the hard work, niche down. And I understand my ideal client in this luxury market is not somebody local. And I'm okay with that. And it allowed me to brand myself differently and break into this highly competitive market very quickly.
That's awesome. So do you mind me asking, how do you find that buyer that's in New Jersey who's thinking about coming to Hilton Head Island? And how did you stand out apart from them? Like, was it social media? What was it?
I mean, it's a culmination. I think the biggest thing that I did was I focused on online presence. I don't do print advertising. I don't do any of that stuff, right? I really focused on emphasizing how I bring value to that market on a website, and I drive Google traffic to it. And I share my secrets. I don't hold back. And at the end of the day, after people look at that website and or sign up, they feel like they know me. And I've shared the value that they're looking for, and they have no problem having a conversation and taking things to the next steps.
And when you're doing that, you're just basically like, are you getting repeat referral business as a result of that business that did come? Now is it becoming more where you're seeing multiple plays on the same client or client offering?
Absolutely. I mean, we all know it's a long-term relationship game.
Mhm.
And if you treat people right and you go above and beyond, they're going to work with you again. And it's also the beauty of that is with the second home market, they don't know anybody else. They don't know
Right.
another realtor. So when they have a friend that they want to refer to something similar because they're jealous of what they bought, they're going to send them to me. And they're ready to sell. They're going to call me back. So a little bit of strategy and a little bit of luck of finding that niche.
You don't sell ugly homes, Brandon.
No. Well, I mean, maybe if there's some equity be built in from a renovation, but that's beautiful to me. That's not ugly.
Yeah, I'm just joking. I mean, that's kind of funny because, like, to them, that's still envious because it's like, oh, I got like all this equity. Everybody loves the equity proposition that in that opportunity too. For David, did you have any questions for Brandon or things you're thinking about as we're talking?
Yeah, that's terrific, Brandon. You certainly, as someone who's had multiple transactions with you, I can tell, he is the glue of a transaction as he promises, I'm not going to allow anything to happen. I'm going to keep this together. And his word is always very true. And so, Brandon, talk to me about how you identify that and you're able to, persistently achieve and basically over deliver on under promise. How are you able to kind of work that system for yourself and your clients?
Yeah, guys, I think it's super important managing expectations, right? So making sure the client understands the transaction process, make sure they understand what to expect from me throughout that process. And after you sell a few homes, you understand what works and what doesn't, and you understand on the front end of, hey, these are the important parts of the transaction. These are the parts where we're going to be in conversation the most. And the other thing that I do mention that I think a lot of realtors don't do, and I hear it sometimes, is, I always tell my clients this. I say, I'm a long-term relationship guy. I will be here before, during, and after the transaction. And reputation is important, especially in my small island. If you don't win, Mr. Client, Mrs. Client, I don't win. And it's kind of going into it with that mindset of like, their success is my success. I don't look at the success of them closing on the property for me. I look at the success of, did they achieve their goal, whether it's an investment property, a luxury lifestyle property, does it check that box? And having that mindset manages my own expectations and what I need to get done and what needs to happen throughout it to make sure they're happy.
Brandon, one of the things I noticed, have you guys noticed as you're listening to him, his confidence level? It's not a if I'm gonna get it done. It doesn't come across as like maybe we'll get this together. His confidence is like, I am your guy. I am the person that can accomplish your goal. And he tells the client. I think sometimes we take the approach of like, what can I do for you? Rather than like leading the client. Like I hear a leader when I listen to you. And I think that is critical I know this is critical because people really are tired of having to always lead. Like a luxury client usually is a doctor, they run a company, they're some kind of an entrepreneur, they're super busy, and all they're looking for is leadership inside their own. Like just talking from ourselves, like as realtors, we're looking for people to lead us in our business and what we're doing. So like whenever someone takes the role of leader and they're able to help us run, it gets our goal accomplished. And that's what our clients are looking for. So that's what I hear when I hear you speak, Brandon.
We're the experts, guys. And, I think you need to instill a level of confidence into your client that, you know, you're in good hands here. There's nobody better to serve to help you get to your goal. And yeah, that's how I, you know, from some losses and some wins, that's where the confidence comes.
We don't always want to do it. It's not always pretty. Like usually the other side of the camera is not always glamorous. It's like, you know, we get that like 1 second of glory. Everyone thinks they look at you from the outside and they go, oh my gosh, this guy is on fire. But we all know, like, if we've gotten success, it didn't come without it wasn't an easy button that we pushed to get it. We had to like endure these challenges of like, it's going to work. It's not going to work. It's, you know, like all that in between nonsense. But the end result is 45 million in sales, probably more than that, probably more than I'm even stating here. I'm sure I'm underselling you. But can I real quick, one of the cool things about our company is the relationship building that we do together. And because of a relationship with one person turned into the relationship everybody you see on the screen, plus the people that are watching. And that's one of my most favorite pieces of our company and what we do. And as a result of David introducing me to you and Tristan and Brandon and you, Brandon, who did you introduce me to that's on this we're interviewing right now? Share with me a little bit about Marjorie.
Miss Marjorie Corbin. So yeah, Marjorie and me have always had a working relationship. She's been up the road about 2 hours from me in Charleston. And, you know, it's very rare to find somebody that is like-minded, not only from what they want standpoint, but the work they're willing to put in to get there. So we immediately, maybe 3 or 4 years ago, through a mutual friend, met each other and just kind of stayed in touch. And I made the move, and you know, there's some really great people that came with me. Andrew Broom's on the call right now. He's been rock and roll. He was actually the first one to join. And then I reached out to Marjorie and I just said, hey, you know, this is something that we can actually collaborate on a whole different level. And I explained it to her. We spoke, we talked. I'll let Marjorie kind of fill in the details of what happened after that. But I think for me to have somebody like her in my organization, in our organization, you know, it's priceless, and it's the mentality that she brings. And obviously the end goal is common, but it's the hustle and the work, not just talking about it. She does it. She's the real deal.
She is. Marjorie, I loved meeting you. It was cool because we've not only just like what people don't understand about our company is we're not just a virtual company. We are a people to people company. And you came to Charlotte. We did an event. You were there. Brandon was on stage, you know, and like you're a luxury agent and you came from a boutique, if I remember correctly. And you had a personal friend, like your leader of your boutique was your friend. And it was a big decision. Would you mind just sharing, like, what was it that made you, and Brandon, I'll go back to you on this question too, but what made you like say, you know what, this is where I need to run my business. This is going to be the best opportunity for me for my growth now and for the future.
Absolutely. Well, thank you all for the kind words, especially Brandon. I would say probably one of the eye-opening, you know, conversations that I had with Brandon about EXP was when he said, you're a businesswoman first. You're not just a realtor. And that's always how I've viewed myself. I have a very entrepreneurial type mentality. So backstory, my initial training was through a larger firm, and then I transitioned to more of a boutique, which is where I really organically excelled in a luxury market space. So I would say the main, I mean, aside from the splits, we're totally different. EXP is obviously capped. I was not capped at the previous brokerage I was at. Additionally, all of my business is sphere and referrals. So it wasn't a lead gen type of setup for me. So it didn't make sense, aside from, you know, the occasional guidance if I was in a tough situation, that I didn't get you know, an insane amount of value, whereas this platform offers me value across anything related to real estate or not. I would say being around like-minded individuals with a growth mindset was probably the biggest factor. There's so many agents in Charleston, and not all of them really have the same goals. They're fine with selling 1 or 2 homes a year. That's just not the type of environment that I wanted to be around. So obviously after looking at the numbers and then, kind of recognizing where I was at in my career, I felt like I was in such a pivotal point to make a decision. And it did not, I definitely put a lot of thought and time and energy into it. And it's kind of one of those things like a breakup, like you never realize how long you were in a relationship, the wrong one, until after the fact. And so now that I'm at EXP, I'm like, oh my goodness, like there's so many doors and opportunities have been opening. Obviously, I'm very excited to go to Cabo for the first time and really just kind of divulge into all of the opportunities personally and professionally through the EXP fam.
That's awesome. I remember us talking and being completely impressed by you because you are young, you've gone after the luxury market, you do a lot of sales. Do you mind sharing like what your numbers look like? I think you're around 12 million but I don't know what that equates in like numbers of transactions. If I remember, because you might have done more. Like I feel like I'm underselling you guys because I know you're super impressive.
That's okay. That's okay. Yeah. So I was at closed and pending 27.3 million last year.
Okay, yeah, we
Um,
undersold that.
okay. That's
You
okay.
did 12. How much did you do since you came on to EXP?
I'm probably over 20 million in like 3 months, 4 months.
$20 million in 3 months.
Mhm.
Freaking
And
incredible. And you
I got
changed
I had a,
company, right?
I
You
had
were
a
gonna, I was gonna
strong
this part was
Q4.
gonna slow down for a minute, wasn't it? You making that jump over. That's incredible. That's awesome. I and you're an individual agent, you're by yourself, correct?
For now. So the plan is to grow a team. And that is going to happen in time, but very selective on what I want that to look like.
Sure. How did you break into the luxury market? What was the mindset that was like, do you own a luxury home? Or did you own one when you first started? Like, how did that all transition for you?
So I did not own any homes whenever I got into real estate. I have a little portfolio now downtown. So that experience was definitely helpful with the type of clientele that I was able to work with. You mentioned earlier kind of being able to like talk the talk and walk the walk. So initially when I started, I would say, I just started looking at my price points and seeing where those clients were coming from. So Charleston is a small town, if you will. It's kind of getting this city vibe to it, but it is very kind of densely populated on the peninsula where I live downtown. So these are all relationships that I've been fostering for the 14 years that I've been in Charleston. So when I transitioned from bartending to real estate, I had a large network. So I became relentlessly intentional about my strategies for prospecting. So I no longer looked at prospecting like cold calling. It was when I go to yoga and I talk to one of my girlfriends who's ready to buy her first home. So I think just kind of being like on all the time and seeing every opportunity as, a potential client. And I would say organically that, along with somebody who I have a very, very high touch service that I offer with my clients. So I like to handle everything start to finish. So I think that just that reputation has built on itself. And I just feel like organically I kind of fell into that focus of luxury. It also helps that our like average price point downtown is like 1.5. So
Yeah, that does help. But I mean, you have to build a trust, and at a young age, what is impressing me so much about all of you is you didn't let your age get in the way of your success. And I think that like humans have a tendency to just like, oh, I can't do this because, rather than like you went after it. You said, you know what, every relationship matters, and what you enjoy became part like that's kind of how I thought when I got into real estate was like, what do I love to do, and how can I marry that into my business and turn that into like marry my life with my business. And that's what I did too. So I think that that's just a smart way, because if you're loving what you do, it doesn't feel like it's like work, right? And I think, being able to get the price point up makes it a lot better too, because you're having to sell 4 to 5 homes to make up that price point of 1.5 million. Your price point, you could sell $2-3 million home, and now it's just the same amount of work. It's just a different mindset of how you're thinking, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah, I'm super impressed by all of you. Like literally, when David started making these introductions, I was like, wow, I get to like, and Lydia, like, wait till you guys hear about her. Like, you guys are all so impressive. It's really exciting to be able to, and that's my passion as young people. Like, I love that. I think I've told all of you when I talk to you that is my passion, is to see young people succeeding faster and to be able to share the systems of what we're doing to help with that. And that's really, you're going to see as this year goes on that's going to be like packaging stuff to make it easier and easier and easier for people to sell more houses and have less stress. That's the whole goal. So I love that you're doing that and you're sharing. And so have you, Brandon's already been like, did you guys hear that? Like Brandon is like built a really awesome real estate business. He's also, it's a family business. And then he's partnered with a great gal in Charleston, South Carolina. So now he's helping her partner with other folks, because you heard she wants to build a team. And what that looks like in EXP doesn't have to be your traditional team, does it? It could be partnering with people outside in other markets. You guys are training and helping other agents be successful in what they're doing. So it's like success follows success. And that's what's really cool. And Lydia, so she is in Knoxville, Tennessee. David introduced me, I think it was like 4 days before Christmas. It was literally, I felt like it was Christmas Eve. And I think I was on the phone at like 6 a.m. with you because of our time difference. And I thought, wow, this is crazy. And she got me in like one of my goofy moods, Shelly moods. So, anyways, I was really blown away by Lydia, because Lydia, do you mind if I ask how old you are? Are you even 22?
I'm 21 as of
Hot.
4 months ago. Yeah.
Lydia's 21 years old. And what is your price point? What do you like to sell?
Well, right off the bat, I kind of have a completely different perspective than you guys, just well, because of my age, but also I'm in college. I'm a senior now. And right off the bat, I was like, okay, I'm 21 in a median price point in Knoxville, 350 to 400 grand, completely different than these other boutique, smaller cities. What am I going to do to make the most of my time? Because I don't have a lot of it. But at the same time, this is like what I want to do and what excites me. And this matters more to me than anything else. And so right off the bat, I branded myself as a condo and luxury, because I was like, exactly as Brandon was saying, riches are in the niches. And as a young person coming into it, how am I going to establish credibility? Well, facts can't be disputed. So if I come in and I've never seen someone specialize in condos in Knoxville, obviously a lot of people say they want to specialize in luxury. But if I know everything about condos, because condos are different. Like people don't know HOA, blah, blah, blah. If I have established relationships with HOA, if I know all my numbers, why shouldn't they sell with me? And so if I brand myself and give myself that credibility over 87% of my leads come from social media. And so as a young person, it's not like I'm cold calling and then I'm showing up and they'd be like, hey, wait, how old are you? Like, how much are you sold? I've never gotten that question, because they literally will just DM me their address and be like, can you list my property? Because they know what I look like, they know what I sound like, they know how I market, and they know the people that I'm surrounded by, and have, shook my hand in networking events. And that's what it's about. So
you're multifaceted. So you're using social media. I think all three of you are. I just don't think we've touched on all of it, but it's networking, right? I mean, whether it's yoga or a chamber of commerce event or whatever it is, you're networking, you're using social media to leverage that's your proof, right? That's your proof of validity of like, okay, this is what I do. So Lydia, I've watched your social media. It's super impressive. She goes out and she positions herself, like looks super polished, put together. And then she stands there and she talks about the properties. And that is her social proof. Like, here, I know my market. I know what I'm doing here. Am I correct on that, Lydia?
yes. So, and social media was never like, I had never intended it to drive my business at all. Like I was trying to do everything plus one to get business when I first started. I would just post the most random stuff on social media, but then it really started getting traction, because I've just had sellers straight up tell me, like, I was thinking about using my friend that's an agent, been an agent for forever, but like I've never seen energy in videos like you make. And I think that's the marketing that properties need, and it is. And so if you have that energy, that people that have years of experience longer than I've even been alive, it's hard to find. So
I totally agree. And it's funny you say that because energy is everything. If we go at something like if I got on this call today and I'm like sitting up straight, my abs are pulled in. I'm like, I tried to make sure my lighting was good. Like energy is everything. And and I think that it doesn't matter your age. Like so like some of the people that are watching are like, oh my gosh, I'm not young like Marjorie or Lydia or Brandon. Like I'm not super cute like that. Like whatever's going on in their little head. But really all it is people want energy. They want someone who's knowledgeable. They want someone who's promoting what they're doing because they know that you're going to go the same energy you put into yourself to get yourself out there is the same energy they're going to expect out of you. So they don't want someone who's like sitting back, not putting themselves out there. They just want someone who's knowledgeable and shows up the way where they need. And like you said, I love that quote. I wrote it down. Riches are in the niches. That is so good. And Lydia, you were smart. How did you figure that out at such a young age? I mean, you're 21 years old. So most of us haven't even figured out how to get into the bar yet because you just turned 21. So how did you do that?
yeah, I had just turned 19 a few months ago, or a few months before when I got my license. So I've only had my license for 2 years. Yeah, honestly, I don't really know. I kind of fell into the whole social media thing, and there wasn't there since a couple years ago, there's been a lot more agents get into social media and use the same videographer that I use and blah blah blah. But it just helped establish me so much. I honestly don't really know. It was kind of a God thing, but like it's been amazing to watch and just the snowball effect of it. So
Can I ask you some personal questions? So
yeah,
I mean, I was just going to ask them anyways, but I just asked permission. Um, one of the questions is did you or do you pay for your like what is your major in college? Were you in law school?
finance.
Oh, my
No,
finance.
no, no,
That's
fine.
right. You're the
Yeah, so
finance.
I was pre-med for the first 2 years.
Okay,
So
okay.
but I was always obsessed with like credit investing since I turned 18. I don't really know why. It was not like a huge topic in my household, and I stumbled across real estate. I was okay, real estate's a super lucrative way to invest. So I got involved with a couple groups. I was before I got my license, I was involved with a syndication team, just on investor calls all day, talking about syndicating apartment complexes. And I just got obsessed with like business, and I would literally I would go to random events in Knoxville and Eventbrite and just like meet professionals and cold email people and just be like, why do you do what you do? I was 18, 19, and I went to this real estate event, ended up being the only person there. So I talked to the broker for like 2 hours and then went home and signed up for my license. So and I was like, okay, I'm making this work. And then now I'm finance, and I do not like school, but we're getting it done. So yeah.
Right. Are you paying for your own schooling?
Yep, I live by myself, pay for everything. Yeah, I live like 15 minutes from my parents, so I'm close, but yeah.
It's on Lydia.
Yep.
That's super cool. I love that. You're getting after it. I'm super proud to know you, first of all, because I'm like I just love that kind of all of you guys are so impressive to me. It just makes me happy inside. So so you joined like there's a little bit more to Lydia's story. So there's a lot more, but to this what I'm gonna ask her. So you joined us. I remember reaching out to you. I was like, oh, she's not calling me back. Like, what's going on? And then and then she all of a sudden David goes, oh yeah, she signed up today. I was like, really? And I was like, congratulations, Lydia, because you're so darn busy. So then, and then you got back to me and I was like, that's exciting. But then you've been kind of quiet. But in the meantime, you've been talking to how many agents about becoming a part of your organization?
I have 11 agents that I'm talking to right now.
Right?
2 or 3 of them are like real serious, but others
Yeah.
are like, because this was my thought process before. Like I am a young person in my marketplace, and I attract a lot. I have 2, 3 meetings a week with people that are young that are like, how to get into real estate, how to do what you do. And now, so a lot of those people are like in the process of getting their license right now. So yeah, it's been super cool to see. And now I like actually have a reason and a place to invest in them and mentor them, which is what I was looking for.
That's awesome.
So
So you're going to school, like it makes me think, well, what am I doing? Right. Cause I'm like, okay, I have Shelly, I'm responsible for this person, so it's, makes you think that. And the reason I'm bringing this up is because why do we have so many limiting beliefs on ourselves? Right. I mean, we can sell real estate at a high level. We can do agent attraction. We're building stock in our company. You guys are all super smart. You're all investors. Did you hear that? Each one of these young people are investors. Like that's impressive. So like what I'm encouraging everybody on this that's watching this to do, and one of the reasons David's like, what are we doing? I'm like, well, they're just really cool. I want to interview them. And, because the reason is because one, you're all investors in real estate. So you see the ROI of that. That's going to be huge for you. You are building the opportunity of your stock opportunity within the company. Our company, by the way, is an $8 billion market cap company with zero debt. I mean, do you think that coming out of the worst real estate market ever, building with the fastest growing company in the world, that we're going to have some opportunity with our stock? I'm not a stock analyst, but I really feel good about it. So that's exciting, right? We're already selling the real estate. Craig, myself, and David, we had these big old zero for stock. I mean, when we were selling for all these years. Could you imagine where we would be? And then you can take the money from the revenue share as you attract agents to the company. You're going to attract other like-minded people, because that's what Marjorie said. She's like, I like being around other like-minded people. And that's was really cool that she came to our event, took the time out of her schedule. And you're coming to Cabo, which is in next Saturday, which I'm super excited to see you. I cannot wait to hug you and spend like some time by the pool together, and also strategize together, because that's what we do in Cabo. And David's been coming. We've been friends for years. It's just kind of the relationships are so much deeper than just transactions. It's so much more, because we're all winning at this together. And the opportunity is so massive. And I will tell you, I just came back from Dallas last week. We had some of our leaders in Dallas, and our company profit or revenue shared back to almost $200 million in revenue last year. Do you think that's huge? In a market where we're in a down economy, where people were struggling last year, I think that's huge. And then the fact that our agents and our organization sold over $10 billion in this year to date in sales right now, like just in our little impact organization, that's incredible. And we are at 35% higher in sales volume in our little organization compared to the national average. I mean, that's huge in sales, but that's because we have people like these folks that are doing it at a high level. And there's so many more. Like I see everybody on this call, and everybody on this call are high producing agents who do a lot of transactions. So what I want to do is see us all there's so much we can take so much market share right now, because what happens in a down market, and I've seen this in 2008, is people pull back. And what these people have done, and this group of people that we're interviewing today have done, is leaned in. Like Lydia didn't even did you even think about the market? Did you even know we were in a down market?
No, I did not know we were in a down market when it started. But I was just like, I'm the type of person that's going to figure it out if something comes out. Like, yeah, I don't care. If I can do it now, then imagine how explosive it's going to be when it actually is a good market.
Exactly, because right now our pipeline, the more we throw into our pipeline, the better we're going to slingshot out the other side. I'll tell you what happened in 2008, 9, 10. Okay, 2008, 9, and 10. That was our last bad market. Everybody who leaned in like these guys did, 4 and 5x, 10x their business. I did. Craig and I did. We 10x our business easily. I mean, maybe 100x did. I don't even know. Like, who was even tracking that number? I don't even know. I should know, but I'm telling you, I know we 100x'd it, because we doubled our volume in 1 year, and we built this organization together in just a few years. So my point is like the people who don't lean in, who pull back, are really, really going to continue to struggle. There's not going to change for them. But the people who really lean in and go at this hard and really like partner up together and don't try to go it alone, because going it alone doesn't serve anybody. It doesn't serve you, and it doesn't serve the people you're working with. It just doesn't. It's like trying to go alone. You don't get anywhere fast that way. You can go so much faster when you do it together. And that's what I love about our organization and what we're doing. Brandon, do you have anything I should be asking that I'm not thinking about? Because you've been with us the longest.
No, not specifically. I mean, I think Marjorie can probably speak on this a little bit more, but I've been in not even a year yet. And you know, part of when you get in, you got to figure out what it all is EXP, what's going on. And I think the biggest thing that I have taken away is the level of collaboration, the way this model aligns it. And I think if you're not running with somebody, you got to find somebody to run with if it comes to attraction. And I look at the opportunity that's out there, and I do talk to agents and I time block, not even actually not in my market. And it's crazy. I got off the phone with somebody yesterday that she's an educator for real estate courses. She's got broker owners she knows in Madrid. She came from Ukraine 15 years ago. And she's like, how do I bring EXP to Ukraine? All in a 30-minute phone call. So I think my point with this is, guys, EXP is untapped still. Like the fact that this lady who is a perfect fit for something like this, and she's like, I get nothing from my brokerage. I got people in New York that I can start a team, right? You know, so my point is, even though everybody thinks they know what EXP is, they either don't know what it is or they understand it wrong, right? And I think there's so much opportunity out there to just, you know, if you're on the call with somebody, if you do a deal with somebody, you know, ask them after that, you know, deal, like, hey, I really enjoyed working with you. Have you ever even looked at this EXP thing? Like, you know, I think it will blow your mind. And we kind of get ourselves in this tunnel vision where we don't want to, you know, even mention something like that. But the reality of it is I think it's so untapped still. And there's so much opportunity. And so don't get discouraged if, you know, you have tried some things and it hasn't worked. You know, I'm only at about 12 people right now. 8 of them came on in the last 2 months. I brought 8 people on in the last 2 months. Right. So I think it's just a mental block I had that was like, either everybody knows about this or they don't, you know, it is too big of an opportunity not to ask if they've ever even looked at it.
Totally agree. I mean, it does, and people are open-minded. Just ask them if they're open-minded. Literally say, are you open-minded to looking and exploring at this opportunity? Because Marjorie, were you open-minded at the time when Brandon approached you? If I remember, you were really happy where you were.
Ooh, mute.
Sorry. Yeah, I was really happy where I was at. That's why it was tough. But you know, I mean, Brandon, I think we got lunch in like maybe February or March. And then by October is when I joined. So it definitely took like some nurturing, but going back to what he said, like once you look at the numbers too, like outside of the collaboration, like you can't unsee it. Like he's got this Excel sheet where you can plug in your current split with your brokerage in comparisons to EXP's model. And so you can see how much you're paying your brokerage. So once I saw that number, it was kind of like game over.
I mean, because it's so much more than, you know, like imagine taking that number and applying that to your investments or whatever it is in that compounding, because it's more than even the number that you're actually saving in the future opportunity, because the future is so bright. I'll tell you what I've been sharing with people. I've joined EXP in 2017. I'm more excited about EXP today than I was then. Couple of reasons why. One, where you have a better foundation, where we're established, like we know what we're doing to help agents now, and our leadership is in such a position right now where every single leader has sold real estate at a high level. I don't know of another company that's done that, where they've actually sold real estate at a high level. Even our marketing director, yesterday I was watching the Girls with Grit did an interview on Wendy Forsythe, and she sold 100 listings their first year on real estate in 1995 or the mid 90s. So do you remember what I told you about 1995 was the worst real estate market, but she sold 100 listings and she was like 24 years old. So, you know, it's like, it really is a mindset thing. I mean, we're going to go through all these markets. It's just who's going to be tenacious enough to push through or figure out to put the blinders onto the noise and focus on what's in front of them and the opportunity in front of them and get after it. And that's exciting. So how I'd like to equate this is like, we're all swimming in the ocean right now. And I'm looking at the ocean. It's like, we're all swimming in the ocean right now and we're going to catch that wave. We got our surfboards and we're like all ready we've been practicing and we've been swimming, right? And we're doing a good job and we're performing at a high level, but now we're ready for like Hawaii. We're in Hawaii and we're going to catch the biggest wave ever. And the people that are actually out there doing this and building their pipeline are going to have a massive opportunity in EXP. and I can see it. I can actually, like, it's exciting. I get like a little bit, I know it sounds weird, but I have goosebumps because I can feel it. And then when I hear the Marjorie stories and the Lydia Cap stories and the Brandon Greenplates and the David girls, and I get to run with people like that, that's what gives it to me, because I'm like, how exciting is it to see you all performing at such a high level and to know what your opportunity is? That gets me excited about, and everybody in our organization, it's like, it's there for everybody. And if everybody just took a little piece of it, we don't need the whole pie. We just need our little unfair share, as they like to say, as people like to say, and get after it. David, I would love for you, I'm sorry to like be, I'm just excited. So when you have your opportunity, because these are your people, like they're your, so do you have any questions or thoughts?
Yeah.
Or
Yeah, that's some great thoughts. And, you know, a lot of biggest organizations, biggest companies came out of ashes, basically. And so EXP was founded in 2009, and we've already kind of illustrated, you know, how low that market was, and that wasn't a great time to build a real estate company. But if you look at the companies that built out of Great Depressions or down times, those are the ones that really came out with a force. Amazon, et cetera. All those guys came out of low times. And so this is our opportunity to come out of the quote unquote real estate low time, lean in, as you said, charge into it, spend more on marketing, whether it be through the social channels and whatnot, and have the opportunity to get in front of our clients. Because yeah, we are going to ramp up. You know, Leo says we're going to sell 10% more this year than we did last year. You know, and you know, there's opportunity going forward. For me, what's exciting is I see, and what I tell other agents who are looking at our company is that, you know, I looked at it similarly as Marjorie is going, you know, how does my cap work and how much can I save by moving my business over to EXP? What I didn't understand or completely comprehend is the collaboration. You know, and now we sell more houses per agent than any other firm out there. And additionally, thanks to the My EXP app, I'm able to go in and look that my organization sells more per agent than even EXP does. That we're at a higher average. You know, thankfully, you know, Marjorie, Brandon, and Lydia, you know, are in my organization. You know, Tristan and Rick Sava. You know, additionally, you know, that where I'm able to sell on a high level. And, you know, I think what we're seeing a common thread is entrepreneurialism. You know, all the, you know, we call them young folks on this phone call, on the Zoom, but, you know, that they all have an entrepreneurial thing. What I'd like to hear from each one of them maybe is, what was the one thing that was the tipping point for you to want to join? Because Brandon came from a boutique. Marjorie came from a big firm, then a boutique. And Lydia was with two different firms before us. One was a local one, and then she was with a luxury firm. You know, what was the tipping point for each one of you all to want to join with us here at Impact and EXP?
I can open, and I'll give just a little backstory of why I came. So I was 2023, I was honored as a 30 under 30 realtor in the nation by National Association of Realtors. And every single year they go to a different major city. The previous honorees come back, so people in their 30s, 40s, early 50s, and then we welcome the new class of 30s in to kind of like, you know, this fraternity sorority type thing. Anyway, I was sitting in a meeting in there because at the time I was like, I sold 150 million in real estate for 4 years. I'm going to start a brokerage. I got my brokerage license. You know, so I'm sitting in there kind of fly on the wall on this cutout workshop that's for broker owners only. And it blew my mind the amount of people that were miserable, weren't making any money, going through divorces, to the point some guy, I tell him what I'm thinking of doing, he comes to shake, he's like, don't open a brokerage. So I'm like, whoa, okay. Fast forward, Tristan came to me with the opportunity. I said, I don't want anything to do with it. I don't want you to. He said, come to Cabo with me. I said, all right, you can pay me to come to Cabo. I'll come free Cabo. Blew me away. The biggest tipping point to answer the question was somebody on stage at Cabo that said, guys, it does not matter where you're at today and how big your dream is or where you want to go. I guarantee you somebody in this room has been in your position before, and they will help you get there, regardless of what it looks like. And that for me was just like, wow, okay, they're not fitting me into the mold. It allows me to be the entrepreneur I want to be and build the business that I want. I don't have the liability that a broker would have. I don't have the overhead that I have. And the support that is, I can walk up to anybody or ask that guy, hey, I'm trying to do this. And he can put me in contact with the person that has done it to get me there. That for me was just like, I don't know what it was, but something clicked. And that was my tipping point.
I love that. So it's an event for you. So you guys hear that? That Tristan and brought him to an event, and that was his big aha, was like hearing the right words from the right person. Margie, what about you?
Pretty similar to Brandon. I think I just kind of got to the point where I was looking at my mentors at the time and what I wanted my life to look like. And it was very different. And I realized that if I wanted something different, something had to change. So same with Brandon, I thought the answer was getting my brokerage license, becoming a broker in charge, having my own firm. But then I saw, a lot of the negatives that come with it, the legality risk, the training, the handholding. So this model, it's just insane, the flexibility that it offers. It's so well versed. I mean, there really isn't anything like it. Like the fact that, I'm working smarter, not harder. I'm making more money. I'm around, like I have an infinite number of contacts for anyone to learn anything. And if somebody doesn't know it, they're going to point me in the right direction. So I love that compatibility factor and the collaboration. So I think, obviously this is a business, so the commission structure played a heavy role in the decision, but more importantly, just the model and the collaboration.
Awesome. Lydia?
Yeah, my work up to EXP was I started at, like David said, and the largest independent firm in Knoxville. So I was like, it's great backing. Then I started to realize I was getting some pushback from million plus sellers just because it wasn't, a big name, it wasn't a global name. And also my broker was like, you should shoot for one closing a month. And I was like, that's just no, that's not what I want, actually. And so I went to Sotheby's after that because I was like, really high producers. I was like, I'm not going to get any pushback from this luxury brokerage from sellers. And it really was great. But it had a very, like, this is our piece of the pie mentality, and we're the best at this, and we're not going to talk to anybody else. In fact, I was directly told it's bad for my brand to be friends with people at other brokerages. And I was like, so no, not that either. And I had been friends with Jim Clemaris, who is my direct sponsor in Knoxville for a while. And I just don't need the same kind of oversight and have the same kind of questions that I had when I first started anyway. So it's like I need that flexibility. I never went into my office or used any of our in-house marketing anyways. And as I built my brand over those 2 years, I was starting to attract a lot of people that wanted to get into real estate too. So it completely fell into place. And honestly, I wouldn't have been ready for EXP when I first started, but it just came together the perfect time. I'm with the support I need and the tech I need and the people that I attract. It just clicked, like Brandon said. It really did.
That's awesome. I love that. You guys are part of what we're doing. I appreciate you. David, did you have anything else you wanted to add or anything?
I think the key thing for all of them, I'm hearing, is there is a nurture point. And so a lot of us want, an absolute, have a conversation, are you open-minded? And they join next week, scenario for agent attraction. Brandon was a couple of year nurture. I introduced the idea to him a couple of years earlier. He wasn't ready yet. Didn't quite have the vision, and maybe I didn't articulate it right at that time. Tristan came and articulated it, brought him to Cabo, and he was able to meet, people who were able to pour into him, and Lydia, the same thing, as she, talked about. The EXP probably wasn't the right fit initially, but a couple of years later, here she is. She had, because of us staying with her and nurturing her, and similar to any relationship, like a listing or whatever, is that sometimes they're really quick, and then other times we need to nurture and stay with the person over a period of time and develop that. So and then the opening begins, where there's a great opportunity for them to discover what we can do for them. So I would see that as we need to nurture our friends in the business, and be open-minded to having those conversations in the years in between they join, and just being there for them, and leading by example, because these three certainly lead by example in a big way, and in each one of their markets. And I'm very blessed to be partners with them. So
Great.
And
Well, thank you.
to
I'm sorry.
piggyback on that, I think one last thing that's a really easy correlation for realtors to make is it's, recruiting agents or attracting agents is the same thing as taking a listing, right? If I've got somebody right now that's got an $8 million house that I've been talking to for about a year and a half, and every 90 days I give them a buzz and shoot them a text and say hello, right? And when I start to feel a little bit they're getting closer, I'm going to ratchet up the frequency that I touch base with them. Guys, it's a direct comparison to bringing agents on. It's the same thing. It's just a different framework.
It is. You're just providing them with the information they need, that if it's their what they're thinking in their life. It's not, and it's not on our time. It's not on our watch. And I think
And add value, right? I'm adding value to that listing I want to get. I'm adding value to that agent.
right, you're sending them information about what's going on with their market, and with an agent, like, hearing what their needs are and then matching that with what you're giving them. Absolutely.
100%.
Well, you guys, I really appreciate you jumping on this call today. I know you all are super busy, and I look forward to seeing you all in Cabo. Lydia, we got to get you there next year for sure. It's going to be a great event. Are you coming this year?
I really wish I could, but my midterms are the same week. I was looking at it, I was like, I would have, but next year.
Next year you'll be there, and there's other stuff in between we'll get you to as well. So, but I just really appreciate you guys jumping on this call. It's super enlightening to me. It also gives a lot of inspiration to folks and shows people what's available to them, and maybe makes them think a little differently. So just appreciate all of you, and you're crushing it. Keep doing what you're doing. It's amazing.
Thanks for putting this together, Shelley.
Thank you so much, Shelley.
You're awesome.
Yes.
You guys have a wonderful day.
Bye.
Thanks, everybody. Have a
Bye.
good
You
night.
too.